Revelation 13. God the Father speaks. There was a Lord whose servant said to him, "See, your fallow land has been plowed and the roots have been pulled out. When will the wheat be sown?" The Lord answers him, "Although the roots look like they have been pulled out, there still remains some old stubble and stumps that will be loosened in the spring by rain and wind. Therefore wait patiently until sowing time comes." The servant answers, "What shall I do then between spring and harvest?" The Lord says, "I know 5 places. All those who go to them receive 5-fold fruit, if they come pure and empty of pride and burning with love. In the first place there was a vessel closed and not closed, a vessel small and not small, a vessel bright and not bright, a vessel empty and not empty, a vessel clean and not clean. In the second place a lion was born that was seen and not seen, heard and not heard, touched and not touched, acknowledged and unknown, held and not held. In the third place there was a lamb that was shorn and not shorn, a lamb wounded and not wounded, a lamb crying and not crying, a lamb suffering and not suffering, a lamb dying and not dying. In the fourth place a snake was placed that lay and did not lay, moved and did not move, heard and did not hear, saw and did not see, sensed and did not sense. In the fifth place there was an eagle that flew and did not fly, came to a place from which it had never departed, rested and did not rest, was renewed and was not renewed, rejoiced and did not rejoice, was honored and was not honored. Explanation and clarification of the above images. The Father speaks. That vessel about which I told you was Mary, daughter of Joachim, mother of Christ's humanity. She was a vessel closed and not closed, closed to the devil but not to God. Just as a stream desiring but unable to enter a vessel that stands in its way seeks other entries and outlets, so the devil, like a stream of vices, desired with all his stratagems to get near the heart of Mary. But he was never able to incline her spirit to the least little sin, for she was closed for his temptation, since the stream of my spirit had flowed into her heart and filled her with a special grace. Second, Mary, the mother of my Son, was a vessel small and not small, small and modest in the humility of her lowliness, but great and not small in my divine love. Third, Mary was a vessel empty and not empty, empty of every lust and sin, not empty but full of heavenly sweetness and every goodness. Fourth, Mary was a vessel bright and not bright. Bright, since every soul is created beautiful by me, but the soul of Mary grew to such a perfection of light, that my Son settled down in her soul, in the beauty of which heaven and earth rejoiced. But this vessel was not bright among men, in that she scorned the honors and riches of the world. Fifth, Mary was a vessel clean and not clean. Truly clean because she is all beautiful, and there was not so much uncleanness in her as to fit on the point of a needle. But the vessel was not clean in the sense that she came from the race of Adam and was born of sinners, though she herself was conceived without sin, in order that my Son might be born of her without sin. So whoever comes to that place where Mary was born and reared will not only be cleansed but will become a vessel for my honor. The second place is Bethlehem, where my Son was born like a lion. He was seen and held in his human nature, but was invisible and unknown in his divine nature. The third place is Calvary, where my son was wounded and died like an innocent lamb, according to his human nature, but remained impassible and immortal according to his divine nature. The fourth place was the garden, where my son's grave was, and where his human nature was placed like a contemptible snake and lay there, though he was everywhere according to his divine nature. The fifth place was the Mount of Olives, from which my son flew in his human nature, like an eagle to heaven where he ever was according to his divine nature. He was renewed and rested according to his human nature, although he was always at rest and always the same according to his divine nature. Therefore, whoever comes clean and with a good and perfect intention to these places will see and taste the sweetness and goodness of me, God. And when you come to these places, I will show you more.